Sarah Ferguson is reportedly in turmoil with friends concerned about her well-being. The former Duchess of York, once known for her resilience, is allegedly on the verge of a breakdown. Sources indicate that Ferguson is blaming herself for the unfolding scandal related to her past associations. This situation has led to discussions about a potential move from Britain in the walls of Royal Lodge, her residence with ex-husband Andrew. Mountbatten, Windsor, are reportedly closing in. Royal Lodge is now described as chaotic. Andrew, stripped of his royal titles, has agreed to relinquish the 30-room pp. property. The mansion's interior reflects this upheaval, with boxes lining corridors and unopened deliveries piling up. Insiders describe the scene as the aftermath of a storm. Ferguson, usually adept at reinvention, is struggling to cope. She is reportedly consumed by what-if scenarios, blaming herself for the current situation. Ferguson's history is marked by scandal and reinvention. She has always need to bounce back. However, this time, her usual strategies are failing. The headlines and public disgrace are taking a toll. Mental health concerns are being raised. While Ferguson is reportedly distressed, Andrew is said to have retreated into video games. The situation at the House of York is described as a fallen prince seeking distraction and a duchess drowning in regret. A turning point was the revelation of Ferguson's email to Jeffrey Epstein, which further damaged her reputation. This led to professional repercussions, including ITV dropping her and publishers backing away. The release of our children's book, Flora and Fern, was delayed. Industry insiders deemed the move sensible given the scandal. Biographer Andrew Loney detailed Ferguson's history of excess. She spent lavishly on clothes, holidays, and staff. By the mid-1990s, she was deeply in debt. Friends say her phone has stopped ringing. Even loyal defenders have gone quiet. Her daughters are reportedly urging her to rebrand. She's now working with PR professionals to portray her as a leader in female positivity. Some insiders are skeptical of this strategy. Ferguson is considering leaving Britain altogether. Her empathetic nature, particularly towards children, is acknowledged. Even the Queen's corgis, Buick and Sandy, are part of the relocation discussions. It remains unclear who will care for them. Behind the hedges of Royal Lodge, Ferguson is said to be unraveling. Friends describe her as oscillating between fury and despair. She is reportedly not sleeping or eating properly. Her resilience, once her trademark, has deserted her. She is haunted by her past mistakes. Her daughters are monitoring her well-being and urging her to seek help. She is reportedly terrified of public humiliation, financial ruin, and losing her last chance. The situation is unfolding publicly. Ferguson is trapped by the media. Every headline and leaked quote cuts deeper. Her PR efforts are struggling. One consultant questioned how to sell empowerment when the public sees dependency and excess. There is talk of a tell-all memoir. However, publishers are hesitant due to the risk of fresh revelations. Andrew remains isolated while Ferguson waits for calls that no longer come. The house feels like a mausoleum. Her staff are said to be treading carefully. No, and shui shock consulfacide can. Stress has pushed her close to breaking point. Ferguson is reportedly afraid of what comes next. She lacks a plan B, brand partnerships, or a guaranteed home. Her network has disappeared. She is realizing how few true friends she has left. Royal watchers see this as a fin. Act. Ferguson must either reinvent herself honestly or disappear from public life. The question is whether she has the strength to do either. She faces the one scandal she cannot outrun: herself. As Royal Lodge is dismantled, the story of Sarah Ferguson ends not with apples, but with silence. The once inseparable pair now face a shared downfall. The former Duchess, who once lived for the spotlight, now hides from it. As she prepares to leave the UK, it remains unclear whether she is fleeing the chaos or running from herself. The downfall reflects a broader trend of public figures facing consequences for past actions. Ferguson's situation serves as a cautionary tale about the long-term impact of scandal and the challenges of reinvention in the digital age. Sarah Ferguson is reportedly in turmoil, with friends deeply concerned about her well-being. The former Duchess of York, once celebrated for her remarkable resilience, is allegedly teetering on the verge of a breakdown. Sources intimately familiar with the situation indicate that Ferguson is consumed by self-blame. She reportedly feels responsible for the unfolding scandal directly related to her past associations. This precarious situation has ignited serious discussions about a potential move away from Britain. The imposing walls of Royal Lodge, her shared residence with ex-husband Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, are reportedly closing in, creating a suffocating atmosphere. Royal Lodge, once a symbol of royal privilege, is now described as chaotic and disorganized. Andrew, stripped of his royal titles and public duties, has reluctantly agreed to relinquish the sprawling and Surreyshire Trust Quarries. The mansion's interior starkly reflects this dramatic upheaval, packing boxes haphazardly lining the once grand corridors and unopened deliveries piling up, gathering dust. Insiders intimately familiar with the scene describe it as resembling the desolate aftermath of a devastating storm. Ferguson, usually remarkably adept at reinvention and image management, is reportedly struggling to cope with the mounting pressure. She is said to be consumed by relentless what-if scenarios, constantly second-guessing her past decisions and blaming herself for the current untenable situation. Ferguson's tumultuous history is undeniably marked by both scandal and repeated reinvention. Throughout her public life, she has always managed to bounce back from adversity, displaying a remarkable ability to adapt and rebuild. However, this time her usual strategies for damage control and public image repair are demonstrably failing to achieve the desired results. The relentless headlines and the pervasive public disgrace are undeniably taking a significant toll on her mental health. Serious mental health concerns are being raised by those close to her own. While Ferguson is reportedly deeply distressed and emotionally vulnerable, Andrew is said to have retreated further into a world of wild escapism, seeking solace in video games. The overall situation at the House of York is now grimly described as a fallen prince seeking distraction from reality, and a duchess desperately drowning in a sea of regret. A significant turning point in the downward spiral was the damaging revelation of all Ferguson's email correspondence with the disgraced financier Jeffrey Epstein, which further tarnished her already compromised reputation. This damaging revelation led to immediate and severe professional repercussions for Ferguson, including ITV abruptly dropping her from their programming lineup and several publishers backing away from previously agreed book deals. The release of her highly anticipated children's book, Flora and Fern, was indefinitely delayed, a decision widely deemed sensible by industry insiders given the magnitude of the unfolding scandal. Renowned biographer Andrew Loney has extensively detailed Ferguson's well-documented history of financial excess and extravagant spending habits. She consistently spent lavishly on designer clothes, luxurious holidays, and an extensive staff. By the mid-1990s, her extravagant lifestyle had left her deeply in stride, teetering on the brink of financial ruin. Close friends of Ferguson report that her phone has alarmingly stopped ringing, a stark indication of her rapidly diminishing social circle. Even her most loyal defenders and staunch supporters have gone unusually quiet, seemingly unwilling to publicly associate with her during this difficult time. Her daughters are reportedly urging her to undergo a complete rebranding, hoping to salvage her public image. She is now actively working with a team of experienced PR professionals to carefully craft a new narrative, aiming to portray her as a prominent leader in female positivity and empowerment. However, some industry insiders and royal commentators remain deeply skeptical of this ambitious rebranding strategy, questioning its feasibility given the depth and breadth of the current scandal. Ferguson is reportedly seriously considering leaving Britain altogether, seeking a fresh start far from the intense scrutiny of the British media. Her undeniable empathetic nature, particularly her genuine compassion towards children, is still widely acknowledged. Even the late Queen's beloved Corgus, Muick, and Sandy are now part of the ongoing relocation discussions, raising questions about their future care. It remains unclear exactly who will ultimately be responsible for looking after them. Behind the high manicured hedges of Royal Lodge, Ferguson is said to be slowly unraveling under the immense pressure. Friends describe her as oscillating wildly between intense fury and profound despair, struggling to maintain any semblance of emotional equilibrium. She is reportedly suffering from severe insomnia and a significant loss of appetite, further exacerbating her fragile state. Her renowned resilience, once her defining trademark and source of strength, no dancing time effect, has seemingly deserted her, leaving her feeling vulnerable and exposed. She is constantly haunted by her past mistakes and poor judgment, unable to escape the consequences of her actions. Driven by profound anxieties regarding their mother's state, her daughters are actively tracking her health, both psychological and physiological, and are said to be pressing her towards seeking expert medical intervention, underlying issues, and develop healthy coping mechanisms. She is reportedly terrified of facing further public humiliation, potential financial ruin, and ultimately losing her last chance at redemption. The unfolding situation is playing out publicly, with every detail scrutinized and dissected by the media. Ferguson feels trapped by the relentless media attention, unable to escape the constant barrage of criticism and judgment. Every negative headline and leaked quote cuts deeper, further eroding her self-esteem and sense of worth. Her ongoing PR efforts are demonstrably struggling to gain traction, facing significant challenges in overcoming the deeply ingrained negative perceptions. One seasoned PR consultant, O. Henley, questioned how to effectively sell a narrative of empowerment when the public primarily sees dependency and excess, highlighting the inherent contradictions in her current image. There's persistent talk of a potential tell-all memoir, without publishers cautiously weighing the potential risks and rewards. However, publishers remain hesitant to commit due to the significant risk of fresh revelations and further damage to her already tarnished reputation. Andrew remains largely isolated, seemingly detached from the unfolding drama, while Ferguson anxiously waits for phone calls that increasingly never come. The once vibrant house now feels eerily like a mausoleum, filled with silence and regret. Her remaining staff are said to be treading carefully, acutely aware of her fragile emotional state. The overwhelming stress and pressure have pushed her perilously close to breaking point, raising concerns about her immediate well-being. Ferguson is reportedly deeply afraid of what the future holds, lacking a clear plan for her next steps. She currently lacks viable brand partnerships, a secure financial foundation, or then a guaranteed home, leaving her feeling vulnerable and uncertain. Her once extensive network of contacts and supporters has largely disappeared, leaving her feeling isolated and alone. She is now painfully realizing how few true and genuine friends she has left, a harsh and sobering realization. Royal watchers and commentators see this as a final act in her long and eventful life. Ferguson must either authentically reinvent herself, demonstrating genuine remorse and a commitment to positive change, or disappear from public life altogether, fading into obscurity. The fundamental question remains whether she possesses the inner strength and resolve to do either, given the immense challenges she faces. She is ultimately confronted with the one scandal she cannot outrun or escape: herself and her past actions. As Royal Lodge is systematically dismantled piece by piece, the complex and often contradictory story of Sarah Ferguson ends not with enthusiastic applause or celebration, but with a deafening silence punctuated by regret and uncertainty. The once inseparable pair, Sarah and Andrew, now face a shared downfall, their fates intertwined in a web of scandal and disappointment. Once basking in adoration, the ex-Duchess now shuns public view. But is her UK departure escape from current turmoil or past deeds? Sarah Ferguson's predicament mirrors a growing pattern. Public figures now grapple with severe repercussions stemming from earlier misdeeds and dubious connections.